Welcome back to our duck boat project build. The most important part of any duck boat build has got to have a solid foundation. We've already got a solid John boat, now we just need a solid transom. The transom for this project was really simple to install. Piece of shit. Get out of there! What the? Okay, parts of it were simple, not all of it. Part 2 of our duck boat build starts right now. So while I was giving everyone a chance to leave their comments and reach out to us about what they wanted to see in this duck boat project, I went ahead and started working on item number 1, which is going to be putting a new transom in the boat. The transom that came out of it was nothing more than a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. It probably would not have held up to our surface drive for very long at all, so in goes an aluminum transom. Now, I did a full, extremely detailed video of how to install an aluminum transom, and I used this boat as the demo to shoot that video. If you want to go check out the full long drawn out version of that video, I'll leave a link to it and you can go check that out. But I made the video so that we could use it as a tool for people that are looking at putting a replacement transom in their boat. They could watch that video and give them a little bit of confidence of what exactly it is that they're buying and what all this project entails, what you need to do it. So I left that video as, as DIY friendly as I could. I didn't do a whole lot of extra stuff in that video. I like the look of a welded on transom cap, so I wanted to go ahead and weld it, smooth it out, and make it look nice and cool. There's nothing at all wrong with leaving the transom cap the way that it was, but I like the way that they look better when they're welded in and the welds are smoothed out, and it just kind of flows better in my opinion. I know some people like to see the welds, and that's all perfectly fine and good. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, the welding that I did was not structural. It was literally like doing body work. I was using the aluminum filler as you would a Bondo to fill in the gap between the transom cap and the little triangle pieces on the corners of the transom. And when I got done, I ground it all out and smoothed it over so that it gave it a nice, clean, seamless look. That's personally what I like. Not everybody likes it, and that's totally okay. I went back with some 80 grit sandpaper and smoothed it all out real good so that we can get this thing ready for paint. We're gonna be rocking and rolling on this thing very soon, and before you know it, it's gonna be paint time. I'm trying to get as much of the sanding done now while the boat's wide open as I can. Now, I wanna thank everyone who took the time to reach out to us through email, and I got quite a few phone calls, and all the comments that you guys left out on YouTube. We reviewed all of them. Me and Mike and Ryan have spent a bunch of times talking back and forth about how exactly we want to go about doing this project based on what everyone gave us as feedback. And we talk about the style of boat, whether this was going to be just a hunting rig or a hunting rig that you could fish out of. It was kind of a split down the middle in everybody's opinion what exactly we should do. From what I gathered, most people wanted to see a dedicated hunting kit that makes this boat a hunting boat that you could fish out of if you wanted to. So priority number 1 was wide open layout. That's what everybody wanted. No deck up front. They didn't want any hatches up front. Wanted this bare bones, basic, wide open. Gun box here, rear storage lid back here for gas can, enough room to fit 2 people and a dog. And surprisingly, a lot of people wanted to see a gun tray or a storage tray system over here, which I didn't even think about. So that is definitely something we're going to incorporate as well. So here is how the series is going to progress based on what you guys requested to see. Our next video in the series is going to be installing the rear hatch back here and getting this all nice and level. After that, we'll tackle this back bench right here. We're not going to remove it. A lot of people wanted to see it notched out. They thought that was a cool idea. I'm going to show you how to frame this after you cut the notch in it. We're going to remove all the foam out of the inside. We're going to cut an access here in the front so that you can use this as an under storage area, which was an awesome idea that a few of y'all came up with. I like it. So we're going to go with under storage, a good notch in here so that you can step back and get closer to your mud motor while you're driving this thing. Or if you're running an outboard, you don't have to sit so far up on the bench. You can sit a little bit further back and actually turn your legs in to get a little bit more comfortable while you're driving. Then we're going to tackle removing this bench. Actually, we're not going to remove it. We're going to cut away the part of it that we don't need, which is most of it. And after that, we will actually start flooring the boat. We'll have a nice flat floor all the way across. We'll go over the gun box framing over there. I came up with a really cool idea for a couple of trays over here. We're going to have a wider tray up top so that you can put your gun when you're not using it. And then down here on the bottom, there will be a smaller shelf that you can put your ammo, cell phone, just little random odds and ends that you want to just throw out of the way, but not put them on the floor. Speaking of floors, me and Ryan spent a ton of time in here messing around with ideas for how we could get a seat pedestal base in here. And there was really no great solution that we could come up with that you could safely install one in the floor. There was a couple of janky ways that we could do it that probably would hold you for a little while. on a small John boat like this, the only surefire way to make sure that you've got a solid seat pedestal base in your floor is going to require some welding. So seat pedestal bases in the flat floor on this particular boat, not going to happen. We want this to be a DIY friendly kit that anybody can put together. Now we've got a bunch of solutions for seating inside the boat, and we'll cover that once we get to the flooring section. But we had a lot of people suggest, getting a 5-gallon bucket with the cushion to put on top. That way you could use the bucket as dry storage and have a nice place to sit. On my personal boat, I did a cooler seat where I actually got an igloo cooler that's one of the heavier duty roto-molded ones, and I installed a seat base with a swivel on top so that I can put a Millennium seat on it and it spins all the way around. That does take up a little bit more room, and we'll see how much room we have once we get everything installed. So that may be an option. And Ryan came up with a few others. We're still doing some research, but that's the direction that the floor is heading. And then moving on up here to the front, we are not going to put a deck, so to speak, up here. We just want a flat area so that we can have room for a dog to sit up here, get in and out of the boat comfortably. We're going to leave the back side of it open so you can store stuff underneath it. You'll be able to get some decoys underneath there, paddles. If you don't want to wear your life jacket, you could throw it up underneath there. But we're not going to do a true fishing style deck. There won't be any trolling motor tray, none of that stuff. Now, benefit to having this big flat area is if you decided to go fishing later on down the road and you wanted to put a little clamp-on trolling motor on the front, like with an auto boat, you could absolutely get up here and use this as a fishing deck, but that's not going to be the purpose of what we're doing. We're looking for storage and a place for a dog to sit. I've got a couple of other tricks and surprises for you guys up my sleeve that we're going to do to this boat along the way. I'm really excited about this project because I like building duck boats. So I'm going to put my own little spin on it. We'll do some little extra stuff that won't necessarily be included in the kit, but will be really cool to see us do on this particular boat project. I have secured us a paint sponsor for this boat, so we're going to be getting some paint to demo for you guys and show you how to do your own camo stencils. I've done enough bottomland boats in my lifetime, so it will not be done in bottomland. We're going to do something a little different, but it's really going to be cool. And I have a couple of other product ideas that are in the works, but if you find folks at home want to see any particular products installed in this duck boat build, let us know down in the comment section below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. I am really looking forward to getting started on this project. We will see you in episode 3.